Hey man, real rap. We might need to have some uncomfortable conversations about Dragon Ball Daima and Dragon Ball Super, because I got some opinions y'all might not want to hear. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. I'm LotusAsakura, the one who never knows best, and apparently the one who says he's going to do weekly reviews of a series and then falls off the face of the earth a quarter of the way through. Yeah, that my bad. I'm sorry about that. Genuinely though, to explain myself, see what happened was, as you all know, I started doing these weekly reviews for Dragon Ball Daima. It was an incentive that was given on my streaming marathon back in September to commit to doing this, and I was very happy about it. And you know, the people who were watching with the watch parties, we were having a good time, and those of you who were watching the reviews were enjoying those. And then December rolled around, and I was on vacation for several weeks, and so we missed several episodes. And I did not plan accordingly for that. I didn't take that into consideration when I booked the trip or made that an incentive, or when I was on vacation or anything like that. And it wasn't until, you know, we got to that point where I was like, oh wait, what do I do about this? Now, had I thought ahead properly, which I've never been great at, but had I planned ahead accordingly, I could have, you know, set it up so that I'm watching the episodes in Japan, and I just, you know, we just missed the reviews that week or the watch parties that week, but I come back and just step right into it like I never missed a beat. Or I could have been like, hey, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna miss these episodes and then we'll come back and watch all of them together all at once I return. You know what I'm saying? And just having a plan would have prevented me falling as far behind as I did. But I didn't miss basically half the series at this point. But I'm happy to tell you guys all today that I am officially caught up. When I returned from vacation, I was kind of in a slump or like a funk or whatever you want to call it, and I really wasn't streaming or making any videos. And I don't know if it was just a weird mental hurdle or just like post-vacation depression or whatever you want to call it, right? But I wasn't really producing a lot of content, and I ended up slipping further and further behind in Dragon Ball Daima, and I wasn't watching episodes, doing the watch parties, doing the reviews, or much of anything for that matter. But eventually, as I got back into my groove, I believe it was in a Sparking Zero video, I said, hey, you know, I've been mulling things over, trying to figure out what to do. And I think what I want to do is I'm just going to watch all the episodes myself, you know, off air, whatever, catch up. And then starting with episode 16 now, since today was 15, I'm going to resume the watch parties for the final 5 episodes of the series, because I believe Daima's only going to be 20. So 16 through 20, the weekly reviews are back. And here today, I'm here to talk to you guys about this series and about episode 15, which just released today. So I do want to sincerely apologize for missing all those weeks and all those episodes. It's not that these were the most popular thing I was doing. Like, the watch parties was cool. We was having like 100+ people pull up to those, and you know, the reviews was getting a couple thousand views, nothing too crazy. But I know the people who were a part of that enjoyed that, and they were missing it. And it's not like people were, you know, begging me daily, asking where it is. But you know, that's something I committed to doing and said I was going to do, and then I kind of abandoned it like literally a quarter of the way through and missed like half the series. What was it, like episodes 7 or 8 through 15 basically? I mean, I'm here to at least review this episode, but you know, we missed all those watch parties and those weekly reviews. So I am sorry about that, but I'm going to do my best to commit to finishing this off properly. You know what I'm saying? And so let's pick up where we left off. Now, I don't think you guys need me to recount every little detail that happened in these previous episodes. If you're watching this video, that means you've been watching this series, and you're probably up to date and everything like that. But what I will say is that go figure, right? So I've been enjoying Daima from the start, from the very beginning, okay? And I feel like it was picking up more and more with each episode. I leave to go on vacation. I left on a Friday, so there was an episode that came out the day that I left, but the next episode after that is where we start getting some crazy action. I believe that was Goku versus the Tamagi, and bro, like, or the Tamagami, sorry. And like, you know what I mean? Like, you get these crazy fights with Goku and everything like that. Vegeta gets into, like, you know, Vegeta and the gang, they all pull up to the demon realm, and Vegeta ends up fighting a Tamagami, and he goes Super Saiyan 3. Like, yo, the series went like nuclear as soon as I left. Like, as soon as I go on vacation, that's when everything pops up, of course, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of people who changed their tune, on Dragon Ball Daima, that wasn't feeling it, wasn't sweating it up to that point, and then all of a sudden, oh, but everything is peak now all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And that's not directed towards anyone in particular, but you know, understandably, people weren't sweating it that tough, because Dragon Ball Daima got off a bit to a slow start. And you know, much like most Dragon Ball fans, I love the action in Dragon Ball. To me, it's the most appealing part about it, but I also greatly appreciate the lore, the world building, the comedic moments, and you know, that downtime. And we got, speaking of world building, a lot of that and a lot of lore throughout all those episodes I missed. I mean, we learned that the Supreme Kai has a real name, and his real name is Nahare. It's not Shin like we always thought it was. And he also talked at some point about like how the trees that the Supreme Kais are born from have basically like all withered away, and so the Kai race is going to go extinct, and about how they, you know, originated from the one realm, and then they all like, yo, we got a lot. We got a lot. But the more we learn about the demon realm and all these demons, we're realizing that more and more races that we know about, like the Namekians or the Kais or everything, have come from the demon realm. Oh, we also learned, speaking of Majins, that the original Majin Buu was not created by Bibidi as we originally thought. They retconned that to now where it was actually created by a woman, a witch, I guess, a witch doctor, I don't know, named Marba, who doesn't want credit for it, but Adansu finds her, and you know what I mean, there's so much that happened. By the way, I'm a bit all over the place right now. I'm a bit scrambled because I do want to talk a little bit about obviously all the episodes I missed. The Kamehameha that Goku does against the Tamagami after he goes Super Saiyan, well, like with Goku, that might have been a top 10 Kamehameha all time. I'm not gonna lie, it was just animated so clean. It was just so fire. Also, when he got serious and went Super Saiyan and did the backflip off the hammer, and then that was so smooth. But yeah, we got the reveals of the additions of Majin Ku and Majin Du, which are two new Majins that Adansu had Marba create so that she can control them and take down the Tamagami so that she could acquire the Dragon Balls. So she's got her whole thing going on. Glorio acting as a double agent right now, maybe a triple agent. Who really knows where this is gonna go? Is Glorio really a bad guy, or is he secretly a good guy? And he's like, it's a lot going on. It's a lot that I missed. Anything you want to hear me talk about in specific, or you want my thoughts or opinions on, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. Because I could obviously yap and ramble. That's a big chunk of episodes that we have to talk about, right? Or that we could have talked about. But I'm gonna leave you with this before we talk about episode 15 in particular. Neva is broken, and I'm very confused by his character. That Kamehameha against the Tamagami that Goku did was a top 10 Kamehameha all time. Super Saiyan 3 Daima Vegeta is sick, and I can't wait to see that in Sparking Zero. Vegeta likes big boobs, which I feel you, brother. And finally, I don't really understand. I think it was episode 13. What was the point of them crash landing on that planet? What was it? Not Giga. It was Megath or whatever. They were the giants like that. I didn't mind. Like, I wasn't mad at it, but it just didn't feel like it kind of added anything at all to the story. Like, it was just like a weird random like cutaway from like the story, like the plot, the action. And I guess you just needed a little bit of breathing room. But you know, like I said, I wasn't mad at it. It just felt like we were, you know, staying on track, going in a specific direction, and it kind of just took a random detour. It almost felt like a filler episode, but whatever. Anyway, episode 15. So obviously the crew has been making their way through the demon realm, trying to collect the Dragon Balls. Adansu is doing her little thing. Goku and the crew, they're collecting their Dragon Balls. They've collected 2 out of the 3, and so naturally at some point they're going to come to blows with Adansu. And what role Glorio is going to play in all that, we don't really know. But they've made it from the second demon realm into the first demon realm because Neva, being the broken character that he is, unlocks the tunnel that was blocking them previously, because as you guys already know, because you've been watching, right, Goma had Degasu shut down the warp sama so that it couldn't be used. So their only option was to go through the tunnel. Neva unlocks it, and they make it into the first demon realm, where apparently it's like 60 degrees Celsius, which is like 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's really hot in there. And it turns into an all-out battle between them and King Goma's soldiers. Now, these soldiers are armed with these very powerful ray guns that you wouldn't expect to really be an issue for fighters the caliber of the Z Warriors, but turns out that these aren't just your regular, average, everyday like ray guns. These are some super duper powerful ray guns that can seriously hurt, damage, incapacitate even the likes of Goku and Vegeta, which ordinarily I'd be like, man, these little punk ass ray guns, like, this shouldn't have any effect on any of them really, especially not Goku and Vegeta. But they're using the whole like, oh, we're in our kids' bodies and as developed, we're not as used to it, we can't really fight up to our full power and capacity and everything like that. And on top of that, well, frankly speaking, you know, the meta thing is we've seen a far more powerful version of Goku already fall victim to a laser gun at this point, like in real life. So yeah, I'm just never gonna forget Resurrection F doing that. So, you know. Oh, by the way, you know the evil third eye that King Goma's trying to get a hold of because it'll grant him this incredible power. And you know, there was Abra, the predecessor to Dabra, who had it, and he became like the supreme demon king of all the realms and everything. He was all powerful. Yeah, so this is how the story go, right? He had the third eye, and then it was stolen by a henchman of Dabra's. Dabra sent somebody to steal it and hide it. That henchman was actually chased, he got away, but then he was found by like a random ogre somewhere, and he was killed in one blow, and then the eye was lost. And it was found randomly by Hybris, who decided it would make for a really cool fashion accessory and has been using it as a belt buckle for however many years now. Well, I guess, what's the timeline? Because how long has it been? I forget. It hasn't actually been that long between what's going on right now in Daima and the ending of the Buu saga. And this basically took place in between that time, because Dabra, was ruling the demon realm, and then he was eaten by Majin Buu. Y'all already know how the story of Dabra went, right? So he became the supreme demon king, and then he was with Babidi, was under his control, and so on and so forth. Dabura goes down, Goma comes into power, and that's how we get to where we are now. Regardless, Goma recognizes the third eye in Hibris's belt and tells Degisu, hey, that's the evil third eye. Like, I need you to go and grab that. And he's like, sure, but how do I do it? He's like, nigga, you're smart, go figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Because Goma wasn't smart enough to actually figure out himself how to accomplish that. He's just making his lackey do all the work, which, by the way, I feel like Degisu is going to end up turning on Goma at this point, because I don't really know what his motives are, and still aren't sure what Adensu's motives are. But it just feels like every time Goma tells Degisu to do something, he does it like very reluctantly, and obviously he had like a panic attack when he shut down Warp Sama and everything like that. And it just feels like at some point he's going to join up with should I still call him? I'm just call him Supreme Kai still. I think that's the easiest. Join up with Supreme Kai and Goku and everything like that. And whether or not I feel like Adensu is probably evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's got her own motives that clearly aren't with the interests of the Z Warriors. At heart or in mind, she's trying to become the new Supreme Demon King and everything like that, and rule over all the realms. Not too sure about Degisu though. But anyway, the plan that Degisu comes up with is to actually send this really pretty demon girl up to Hibris to try to trick him into giving her the belt, the eye at the very least. And he's like, oh yeah, this is my cool belt, I'm really proud of it. You like it? I appreciate that. She's like, yeah, but would you give it to me for a kiss? And he's like, he's stupid, like, I don't want to kiss you, which I found hilarious. It definitely was a callback. It reminded me to way back in the original Dragon Ball, which too many of you guys have not read or watched, by the way. Get on that. It's the best part of the franchise, in my opinion. But anyway, to when Bulma was like, hey, Goku, if you let me have that Dragon Ball, I'll let you touch my butt. And he's like, why would I want to touch your dirty fanny? And I was like, damn, you gonna let him disrespect you like that? But yeah, Daima's been doing that a lot. Obviously, there have been plenty of callbacks and references to Dragon Ball Z or to the original Dragon Ball. Like, we even got the introduction of a brand new like Toku Sentai Ginyu Force type of squad, and what role they're about to play I have yet to be seen exactly. And there have been some other homages or references and callbacks as well as a decent amount of foreshadowing, not the least of which being they're obviously hinting that fusion's going to come into factor at some point in this story. We've only got a few more episodes left, so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen pretty soon. But yeah, Goku has been eating the revive bugs. Vegeta's eating them, so they're using those insects and stuff that Goku bought all those episodes ago. And one of them is the fusion. I forget exactly its name, but one of them is a fusion bug. Goku and Vegeta are there. Are they just going to end up turning into Vegito? Will it be Gogeta? Will it be a brand new fusion? Will somebody else end up fusing? It would be kind of funny, but also somewhat disappointing, I think, if they do a little bait and switch where they're leading us to believe Goku and Vegeta are going to fuse, and then something happens like Supreme Kai and Degisu fuse or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, that would be... It could still be cool, but y'all know what we really want to see. Or like Glorio's actually not evil, he's working as like a double triple agent or whatever, and he ends up fusing with somebody, whether that's Degisu or Supreme Kai, or he fuses with Pansy, or maybe I don't know if they want to mix the boy girl thing, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but you know what I'm saying, right? Anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place. Back to what I was saying about Hibris and the eye and the pretty girl. So the girl gets rejected by Hibris, and he goes, however, I'll trade it for that hat. And she's wearing this hat that basically looks like a giant inner tube or like a pool floaty, and he thinks it's really cool. And so he trades her the eye or the whole entire belt for the hat. And I just wanted to smack the fire out of him, because like, are you granted, he doesn't know what he have. It's weird enough that he just like, oh, this would make for a cool belt buckle, slap. And just, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, he just said all of 10 seconds ago that he was very proud of it. It's like his most prized possession or something like that. However, that hat you got on that you probably just found at a random shop, I'll trade this belt that I'm the only one in the world that has it, because I've never seen anything else like it, for that hat that I've probably seen in a store, in a magazine somewhere before. That makes perfect total sense, but it's Dragon Ball, so it's goofy, haha. And then the girl's like, well, you know what? That went smooth, I guess, but I can't help but feel a little insulted, and understandably so. Anyway, things cut back over to the action. Goku and the gang are actually struggling fighting off all these soldiers, because they have these powerful ray guns, and then also they bring in these tanks that are firing even more powerful shots, and Piccolo's thinking like, yo, I can take it, like I can regenerate and stuff, and Neva's like, nah, trust me, you don't want to do that. And so they're kind of struggling until Pansy's father and her men show up and kind of ambush the soldiers, and then they all team up. It's an all-out battle between the both sides, and of course Goku and his crew end up prevailing. So a lot has happened, but there's still a lot that's going to happen, and a lot of questions that I still have, and at the pace things will be going, I think most questions I have will be answered. But Daima has been quite the journey. I like it quite a lot, and I would honestly say, I'm being so serious, I would say I think I like it more than I enjoyed the Super anime. Just because there's so much we're learning about the world of Dragon Ball. The fights that we are getting are incredible because obviously it's animated so well. It's on a much better schedule and has a pretty good roster of animators compared to what Dragon Ball Super had. And yeah, I opened up this video by saying we might need to have some uncomfortable conversations. And obviously there's a few episodes left to determine how things are you know, all going to, you know, end or wrap up, whatever. It's Dragon Ball, so I'm sure it won't be perfect. But regardless, man, while Daima is obviously a flawed series, I mean, in true Dragon Ball fashion, there's its fair share of retcons and plot holes and things like that. Just from a pure cool factor, just from an enjoyment standpoint, and as even from a quality standpoint, frankly, I do think that it kind of surpasses Dragon Ball Super. Because you think about it like this, right? Obviously, Super is like much longer, right? It was a much bigger project, so it's kind of unfair to compare, because you can't really compare like a short running series like this, that's 20 episodes, to the long running series that was Super, which was 100 plus. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head, but over 100 episodes, right? I want to say it was like 120 or 130. But the very first arc, right, we was just redoing Battle of Gods, but like significantly worse. And Battle of Gods, in retrospect, to a lot of people, is not that great of a movie. I still enjoy it, certainly not my favorite. But then you followed up with Resurrection F, which I think is a much worse movie, and also the anime version of it is just worse. Then you have like the weird filler arc that wasn't that great. Then eventually you get into some new content. You know, you have the tournament between universes 6 and 7, and that's cool. And I actually genuinely enjoyed that. It like kind of sets up this world building thing and like all this lore, but a lot of it doesn't really get explained or like dove into, despite being a much longer series. I had much more opportunity to do so. Whereas at least here in Dragon Ball, like, or here in Daima, it's all Dragon Ball obviously, but here in Daima, it's like they tell you about this demon realm, that demon realm, and that demon realm, and we're seeing all of them. We're seeing all these realms. We're seeing these characters. We're getting these backstories. We're getting explanations and all this extra lore. And for some people, that's just like, you know, it might not satiate you in a certain sense, or you might not think that it's quality writing or storytelling or world building or whatever. But for me, I'm enjoying it. I like the things that we're learning about the world, and I don't feel like I'm just getting teased about, oh yeah, there's all these other universes. You're not gonna see them, but they exist. You know what I mean? And granted, they mentioned the multiverse here as well, and hopefully at some point we get to see more and more of it, because, you know, we already know it exists and everything. But I feel like in that specific aspect, this one triumphs Dragon Ball Super by a very large margin. And then, like I said, just from a quality standpoint, again, shorter series compared to a long running series, that's not lost on me. But the animation, I guess it's not even a competition, right? Like it's no question. And a lot of people went into Daima already like reluctant, or like people already had this predisposition. When Daima got revealed, it was getting hated on by a ton of people immediately. I would say it was honestly a more negative reaction than positive reaction, at least on the internet. You know, Twitter's not real life, but on YouTube comments and on Twitter, a lot of people were very anti-Daima. That tune has definitely changed. People love Daima right now because the action has picked up and the fights have been really cool, and it's been obviously extremely well animated. But as somebody who's enjoying it from the start, I kind of went into this expecting I went into this and got exactly what I was expecting to get, and, you know, honestly even more so, and I've been having even more fun watching it. And I would say that my overall experience with Daima has been better than it was with Dragon Ball Super, because the first few arcs are just bad, honestly. However, that being said, when we start talking about the Dragon Ball Super manga content, okay, when you start talking about Granola, Moro, even like Dragon Ball Superhero and Broly, if you want to include those or count those, whatever, I get it. People were really disappointed and upset because they wanted that stuff animated, you know, the manga arcs, Granola and Moro. They wanted to see that over Daima. I get it. I get it. Trust me, I do, because I want to see that stuff too. But there was no reason to be upset at this, you know what I'm saying? Being disappointed, I understood, but people were like legitimately angry and were like weirdly entitled and everything. And I just, yeah, you know what I mean? And now a lot of them are singing a different tune. Some people still ain't rocking with it. I do obviously, of course, hope that one day we do get to see that manga material adapted, whether it's in the form of movies or a new anime. And I especially hope that it's well done. I would honestly almost even prefer it as a series of movies, just because, you know, there's no guarantee that the quality of it being on a weekly series as an anime would compare or be on par with what Daima is. But if they do go that route, I hope it could be up to this level, because Dragon Ball deserves that. It's Dragon Ball, for goodness sake. You know what I'm saying? You got to do Akira Toriyama justice, okay? That being said, though, I've been having an incredible time watching Daima. I sat here all day long catching up to all the episodes that I had missed up to this point. And I'm excited to see how the series ends up wrapping up, man. But what do you guys think? Am I tripping? Is that crazy? Is that a super hot take to say that I like Daima more than I like Super? It probably is, but you know, that's just one loser's opinion. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit this video with a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can stay tuned for all the awesome content I put on bring you. With all that being said, that's pretty much all I have today. Remember, nothing can happen to you swing the bat. Later.